This concept of chasing after wind, I actually love this. I'm not gonna lie, man. I feel like a lot of people really just want the validation for things, and they want to cash out. They want the immediate respect for whatever they did, whatever the achievement was or whatever. All right, so today we're reading off of the New Revised Standard Version. So the wording and phrasing might be a little bit different depending on what type of Bible that you have, but I'm in Ecclesiastes, and in chapter 6, there is an evil that I have seen under the sun, and it lies heavy upon humankind. Those to whom God gives wealth, possessions, and honors, that they lack nothing of all that they desire, yet God does not enable them to enjoy these things, but a stranger enjoys them. This is vanity. It is a grievous ill. A man may beget 100 children and live many years, but however many are the days of his years, if he does not enjoy life's good things or has no burial, I say that a stillborn child is better off than he. For it comes onto vanity and goes into darkness, and in darkness its name is covered. Moreover, it has not seen the sun or known anything, yet it finds rest rather than he. Even though he should live 1,000 years twice over, yet enjoy no good, do not all go to one place? So what I think King Solomon was really talking about in these first 6 verses is the fact that we got to figure out on our own how to find happiness and joy in things, you know, regardless of how much material things you have or whatever your financial situation is or how many kids you have, whatever, that, you know, it's not like you should be asking God, oh, like, I just want to be happy, or that one should just be on this like endless pursuit of happiness, that really, no matter the situation that you're in, it's up to us to find the happiness in whatever circumstances that we're in. Some of the happiest kids I've seen in Africa, and they have the most bare minimum things in terms of just resources and material things around them. Yet on the other end of the spectrum, you see an extreme where you have wealthy people that are living these types of, like, these lavish lifestyles, yet they keep trying to fill a void that they can't really explain. This isn't true about all wealthy people, right? I'm generalizing when I say it, and I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody or anything. A trend that I've noticed with people that are in these kind of like higher socioeconomic status positions, that is that there's this constant like moving of the goalpost, where every time they achieve something or get something, that they want more. Like, it's not really satisfying their thirst or anything, and that once you achieve one thing, you gotta get another thing past it. And once they get that thing, then they probably want something even more than that, right? For these types of people that are constantly moving the goalposts forward and they're trying to fill some kind of void in their life, I think that they honestly just need Jesus. I'm just gonna be honest. All human toil is for the mouth, yet the appetite is not satisfied. I'm not gonna lie, man. I feel like a lot of people really just want the validation for things, and they want to cash out. They want the immediate respect for whatever they did, whatever the achievement was or whatever. I think this is really true, and I think it's confirmed a lot with my own life experiences, where I've noticed that people just want to say that they did stuff. They just want to say, just for the sake of conversation, they just want to say that they did XYZ thing just for the sake of a story, literally. They're just sort of seeking out the recognition, right? It's kind of like people that are excessively posting on social media that I did X, Y, and Z thing, and you can kind of tell they're sort of reaching for likes and comments and validation from people, like congratulating them for whatever. And hey, look, man, I'm not trying to put down or, you know, belittle people's accomplishments, but sometimes it does really just come across as like that. I'm just gonna be honest. For what advantage have the wise over fools, and what do the poor have who know how to conduct themselves before the living? I would love to actually hear other people's commentary on how they comprehend verse 8. But the way I comprehend it is just it's very simple. I think that the verse is just basically talking about that we're all really the same. Whether or not one group has an advantage over another, it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, we're all sinners anyway. Better is the sight of the eyes than the wandering of desire. This also is vanity and a chasing after wind. You would rather be healthy than have these kind of fleeting desires that can lead you astray. This concept of chasing after wind, I actually love this. I want to talk about the idea of following your heart. I think a lot of times people, you hear that phrase, oh, just follow your heart. And I think in the past, I used to really be a firm believer of that to a certain extent. I think the more I read the Bible, the more I actually understand that actually I disagree. Your heart operates on emotions, and emotions can be fleeting. You can feel like doing one thing one day, and then the next day you can feel like not doing that thing, you know? I feel like going to the gym today, and then the next day, like, I don't really feel like going. Or, you know, I feel like this is a good idea, but then maybe later you're like, I actually don't really feel like this is a good idea anymore. I think following your heart is a very dangerous thing. And I think that it's kind of in that realm of self-reliance. And I don't really think that your heart is sometimes the best compass for people. And even though it feels good, I don't know if that's actually practically or realistically healthy for people. And this is where I'd say that you need to pray on it. I'm really a big proponent of that, because you should let God be the one confirming these kinds of bigger decisions in your life. And I think that following your heart can lead to disaster. I honestly mean that. There's sort of a level of delusion that sort of gets attached with following your heart. And I'm not talking about, you know, following, like, you know, if you have a dream for something, I think you should work for that, okay? Sure. But it has to be in alignment with what God wants also. Because just because you want it and just because you feel like your heart desires it, doesn't mean that God necessarily wants you to do it. Your desires are fleeting, and I think that your heart can deceive you because your emotions can change just 180, even in the same day. I think you really got to keep yourself in check and keep yourself grounded and just confirm with God, man. I think it's important to just have a one-on-one with him, be like, hey, like, is this a good idea? Is this in your plan? Like, is this a distraction, or is this something that's in alignment for me and that you think that this is good for me? And I think it's important to have that kind of conversation with God and to confirm it, rather than just sort of, oh, I feel like doing it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. And you don't know, man. Whatever has come to be has already been named, and it is known what human beings are, and that they are not able to dispute with those who are stronger. There's another verse that talks about how a lot of what we do on earth isn't novel, that it's already been written. So even though you think that you're doing some grand novel thing in the world, it's actually already been done before, and everything's already been written. I think that idea is linked to this verse 10. The more words, the more vanity. So how is one the better? I love verse 11. The more words, the more vanity. You ever been in those situations where people will just be talking up a storm? It's just like this grand thing. I think people just love the attention. They love just being center stage and having people listen to them. And it's not just storytelling. It's more than. And for what? I'm not trying to say that, you know, every story is not worth it telling. It's not anything like that. But when I was talking about earlier, when people are just sort of seeking out validation, or when people are just trying to earn brownie points with one another, what are we doing? Like, at this point, you're just like, okay, bro, like, you're kind of just wasting my time. Like, For who knows what is good for mortals while they live the few days of their vain life, which they pass like a shadow? For who can tell them what will be after them under the sun? I can put the Bible verse up. There's another verse too that comes to mind when it talks about how our lives are basically just like, it's like a little bit of a mist or something like that. And I think that's so true. And that's not to belittle, I'm not trying to dismiss a person's life. A lot of people are just seeking validation. They just want recognition. They're living these types of lives that are kind of hollow, in my opinion. And there isn't much substance behind it. All that fame and all this crap, all this money and fame and the followers that you have, you can't take it with you when you die, man. That's it. And I think King Solomon was so wise when he was talking about that. So yeah, I just wanted to end with that. That's it. Thanks for listening. And I'll put something on the screen for you guys to watch next. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.